guys so much for having me here. I've been in the kitchen this morning and just got done with another lecture, and so I wanted to come and just to introduce you guys to a new field of science. Nutritional Psychiatry is fairly new for those of you who were at the opening session last night. This field of science is less than 4 years old. My expertise is a very kind of newer version of that division, which is nutritional neuropsychology. And so what I wanted to share with you is to think about some foods that as little boys and girls, that when you would see them, that it would make you happy, it would make you excited. And so this area of science and what my research and what my practice is about is helping people understand how that these emotional connections that we have to food actually influences the biology of how we process these foods. And so you can have someone who maybe has a positive attachment to, say, Kentucky Fried Chicken, such as myself. And so that when I have a Kentucky Fried Chicken 3-piece tender with a biscuit, when I'm feeling sad, that I actually get a tremendous surge of dopamine versus someone who does not have that attachment is like, that really hurts my stomach and I don't know why you eat that. So the piece behind this and why I wanted to share this with you is that our brain on food is constantly working, which is wonderful to have followed the piece about it being busy. And it is busy. Our brain uses carbohydrate as its primary source of energy. It uses fat to calm the fire of anxiety and worry. And how we actually sleep is when we do the house cleaning to clean up the mess from our stressful days. And so the piece that I want you to keep in mind is that as you're learning and as you're going not only in your own lives, but in the clinical work that you do or even in your community work that you do, is that that relationship that you have with food is a variable that we have to consider, and we actually have to take that in. So if you're a clinician and you have patients that are unmotivated or resistant in their desire to follow your recommendations, you're going to have to dig a little bit deeper because you might be dealing with something a little deeper in their psychology. And on the other side of the coin, if you're someone who has a goal and you're just like, I don't know why I can't be motivated or committed, you have to ask yourself, what is the belief system that I actually have about this food or about this behavior? So I want you to think about this for yourself for the next minute or two while I'm finishing up. And with that, I want to educate you about something that I hope will maybe stick with you in your mind as you leave here. And I was looking around the room, which is why I didn't want to do technology. I just wanted you to kind of take in a tangible piece of it. And it also, as a hack, makes the learning a little bit deeper because it's personal for you. So we have this fire alarm right here. This fire alarm is inside of our brain, and it's called our amygdala. And anytime this fire alarm senses danger, it's going off and it's screaming, just like a real fire alarm where you can't focus on anything else. It's the only thing that you hear. This fire alarm is determined based upon your own sensitivity. And that could be genetic, that could be a learned behavior because you grew up in a traumatic environment. It could be the fact that you were malnourished as a child in utero and don't have a proper fire alarm. So you have to keep in mind that everyone's fire alarm will go off at different points. Now that's the first thing I want you to keep in mind. And when that fire alarm goes off, nothing else matters other than safety and pleasure. And whatever safety mechanism that you have with food is what you're going to crave. So when you feel safe or you feel unsafe and you feel threatened, notice which things you're craving. Do you want sweets? Do you want sugar? Do you want soothing? Do you want crunchy? Those are things that you want to pay attention to. Okay, so I see some smiles back there, which tells me that you guys are thinking of things. That's the first thing. Now the second thing is many of you have watches and apps and Alexas and various other things that are constantly scanning around, right? That scanner is our hypothalamus inside the brain. It's constantly looking for the danger because as soon as the danger happens, it's going to light off the fire alarm. So once again, your Alexa might need to get turned off. It may need to get some water. It may need some fruits and vegetables because if that sensitivity is really short, you might need to be a little bit more mindful so that you're not being threatened by the car coming across the road that you're going to get hit because maybe you had a trauma or maybe that's something that you learned. And then the last thing I want to share with you, we don't have them in here, but I know they're around, is we have file cabinets. file cabinets of memories and experiences, and that is your hippocampus. We all have big file cabinets, some of them clean them out on a regular basis. So just like in your computer system, when you need to clean out the trash on your phone or you want to get things out of your way, you need to take a look at what you're holding on to. That's why therapy is important, and that's why community is so important. So as you leave and as you're considering how new fields of science and our work that we're doing here is tying in, the food that you eat is conditioning your brain not only to feel safety, but it's also going to be cleaning out old files and making sure that that alarm doesn't scare you all the time. So